Facebook family and friends. You know what time it is. Saturday morning, FA. Come walk with us in recovery, where it'll be me and El Jefito Samuel. Welcome to the stream.
Good morning.
Buenos dias, senor. How you feeling today?
I'm feeling great, man. Another hot ass sunny day out here. Uh, dude, it's gonna be almost 100 here today.
Whew. It's actually cooling down here. We're a little bit cooler. We're in the 70s, and we got rain today, so it should stay cool, which is definitely a great thing.
Me and Julie went out on the boat yesterday, and we're on the river, and we're feeling like fly traps. You know, like we're just sticky as all out, man. It's humid, and
I've been watching her TikToks that she's been sending me. It's been pretty awesome, man. I can't say I'm not jealous because I am. Like,
it's so beautiful out here, man. But that boat, man, the rivers are so low. I'm actually gonna go see if my motor is at the right height on the transom, because I think the motor sits real low. We can't even go through 3 or 4 inches of water without bottoming the propeller out. So
yeah, you're gonna have to raise that up.
yeah. Anyway, how you doing, my brother?
Yesterday I woke up, I was feeling like crap, man. I ran and did some running around and stuff I needed to do, and then came home to work on some computer stuff and ended up laying down and passing out for the majority of the day. Morning, Amy. So I'm feeling much better today than I did yesterday, which is a good thing.
For the record, Sweetie starts with S like Sammy. Good morning, Amy.
It also starts, you know what else starts with S is suck ass.
Maybe you should try it, buddy. You won't be left out so much.
There's a reason why I got a girlfriend, bro. I'm just saying. So we apologize. We missed last week. It was there was a bunch of stuff that both Sammy and I had to do, and so we weren't here last week. But we are here this week. What do we want to talk about? I remember last week last time we were on, we were part 2 last week, but we are here this week. Now, friends. All right. Bam. Do you remember where we were when we left off, or do we want to move forward in the conversation? I know we had talked about continuing our talk from last time, so.
Well, we've been talking about relationships, and first of all, we're really trying, as a 12-step group, we have to be very careful with the subjects we talk about, because one, we don't want to push anyone away from the table. We try to remain politically neutral, like not even neutral. We don't touch on politics. But so much of what we face has been politicized, and what the word politicized means for me is things that shouldn't be wrapped up in politics get wrapped up in politics as an excuse or a reason to make a political argument. And we're not trying to, we try to avoid those traps, those pitfalls. One, because we have people from all walks of life, all sorts of religions and non-religions, all sorts of politics and non-politics. Like there's people and that's our main priority and principle as a 12-step group trying to recover from street life is to make sure we give people a safe place to come and talk about whatever they need to talk about. And for that person, it could be politics, because we also take on issues within formers. A lot of our formers have been, ex-racists, I know I've had strong anti-government, law enforcement, as well as race issues in my former days. When I was a former, I was radicalized, and um, is that you or me?
You.
That ain't me. That's you, fool.
No, I don't have any notifications.
Mm.
Oh yeah, it was. My cousin called me.
So having said that, if any of our listeners ever feel like we're not tackling an issue that they feel that we should, we'd love to do it. But maybe like politics might be better placed on like your OCR show,
Yeah.
Things like that. However, there's always the human side to things, you know. And I think whenever we talk, we have to be very mindful to let people know, like, this is like my personal opinion or my personal view. It doesn't necessarily reflect what Formers is about. Sometimes that we've had all kinds of things said at our meetings that Formers would not endorse or
Yeah.
represent. Sometimes Formers have trouble censoring themselves and knowing what's appropriate and what's not appropriate, and glamorizing murder and stuff like that. Those are issues that are unique to our group that we got to work through, right? So
I agree.
but I do want to say this, and yeah, John, you're spot on. It's the stressors. I know right now there are a lot of Formers that get triggered by politics. And I think, John, you're spot on. And this couldn't be, and in fact, sometimes politics are the main trigger.
Yeah.
Right. Think of somebody. I have a lot of friends who are changed, who are redeemed, or in the process of change, who are ex-white supremacists. A lot of them, and they are diving headfirst into a world of human rights and civil rights, and trying to redo their brains around racial views and political views and religious views and environment views, like all kinds of views, right? Trust me, for the last 6-7 years, man, I have been up to my neck in political issues that have led to radicalization and extremism, and oftentimes domestic terrorism. That's a very unique space to be in, but it's a very real part of our society, man. And so, yes, politics can be a trigger, just like anything else that we face that might trigger us, man. For some people, walking by a bar, being at a reception where everyone's drinking, it can be running into your dealer, running into an old flame, hearing a certain kind of music, watching the news, like, who knows, man? Triggers can come from anywhere. And so we're mindful of that. But Formers is very unique because we also think about our victims, and not just our direct victims, but victims in general, and we don't claim to be directing all of our focus towards victims, because a lot of what we do is man, we're so messed up. We're working on ourselves constantly, and we're not the best qualified group to be trying to repair any issues with victims, but we want victims to know we stand with them, and if there's anything we could do of service, we would love to do it, and Monte, you've been with us from the very beginning. We've had a number of victims in our midst, in our circles, people of hate crimes, domestic violence, sexual assaults, hell, serial rapes and killers, like victims of that, like family members, who have suffered through that stuff. And you know, a lot of formers have victimized their own families and their own loved ones, their own partners, mostly formers abusing women
Yep.
in our group. And so we try to create an environment, one where we take accountability for that. We create an environment where we're transparent about our past, so that you know our community recognizes we have nothing to hide, and we're not trying to hide anything. Um, which I think is also a part of accountability. It's demonstrating accountability by being transparent, if you ask me. And I think we also recognize that because we've harmed so many people directly and indirectly in our lives, that it for us it becomes incredibly important um, to align ourselves and ally ourselves with victims. And so whenever we can, we want to. And so why are we talking about this? That's a lot of disclaimer. It's a lot of disclaimer right there, right? The reason we're talking about this is because yesterday, well, really in the last 2 days, there have been some major Supreme Court findings, one around guns, one about run around one around a 50-year-old case, Roe versus Wade, that is affecting a lot of the people in our lives. It's kind of like what John said. It's creating these stressors in the lives of men and women around us that are important to us. And because we have empathy today, we realize it's not even just people close to us; it's people all over the country. And we care about that. You know, we care about the global uh, community. We care about the national community. We care about our neighbors today. Um, and so, you know, if somebody is stressed, whether they were for or against something, it causes stress. These things cause stress, man. And it raises, I don't know about you, but yesterday makes me reflect. Um, I have to filter these changes like everyone else in the country through the eyes of my daughters, through the eyes of the woman I love, through the eyes of women that are special and near and dear to me. Um, and for those people under experiencing stress, my heart goes out to you. You know, you're not alone. I think that's really where FA comes in, right? Like you're not alone. Like yeah, I love what you said here, Monte. Come walk with us in recovery, right? And I see that you put the capital C at the end of the sentence instead of the front. That's great. That's how we do things.
Right.
We we capitalize the last word. That's not.
I learned well. The last word of that sentence is the most important one for me. Like,
Well, I like what you're saying is come walk with us because we'll walk with you.
yeah,
You know, like let's walk together, you know, through these times. A lot of the times, man, you know, there's certainly been people in the room who shared their political views who I don't agree with, but I would still walk with them in recovery.
Mhm.
You know, I'm not going to pull back from anyone who has a different view in recovery because we don't share that view.
Right.
You know, share a view. Um, and really, the only opinion I'm ever going to have is the one about myself. That's the only one I feel I'm really entitled to. And a lot of times I don't even get that one right. You know, that I go from thinking I'm the shit, which I know I don't have it right, to thinking I'm not worthy, which I know I don't have that right. And I got to find that middle ground. You know,
That perfect balance.
that perfect balance between
Yeah.
my identities. You know,
No doubt, bro. No doubt. Like, as far as the come walk with us in recovery, man. Over the last year and a half, if it hadn't been for the people walking with me, I don't know if I would have made it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, I can't do it on my own. It's obvious I can't do it on my own. Just based on the history of my life, right? Like, just if we look at the history of Monte's life, we know left to my own accord, I'm gonna fuck something up. Like, let's just be real about it, man. Like, I'm gonna fuck something up. So for me, having others involved in my recovery, having others involved in my life and my walk, it's what keeps me grounded and able to continue on this path, right? Like, and I'm enjoying my life. You know, I talked to somebody about recognizing the fact that this is the first time in my lifetime that I could tell myself and know it's true that I love me, right? And all my fucked up bullshit, all my problems and all my mistakes and all my confusions, I love me.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure I'm doing everything I can to keep cultivating those feelings about myself, right? And that's what recovery has been for me, and that's what this group has been for me, right? This long journey of re-education, right? And this is really my initial education. I didn't have one before, right? I couldn't be recovered, you know. I couldn't be what they talk about is how do I come home a better person, you know, or renewed if I never knew how to be a better person. Like, I'm learning, I'm being taught, I'm finding out slowly who I am and where I'm needing to go in my life to be happy, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to say I've always been a piece of shit, but yeah, a duck's a duck, right? Like,
we've been one long enough to say that in general, right?
Right.
Like, there's no shame in that,
right? You know, and I don't have any, which is weird. I don't want to. Let's not go out. We'll say that for Okor. I'm going to talk about you know, I keep getting the whole God's blessed me.
Well, you know, talking about stressors, man, you know, when I hear things, you know, having seen what I've seen in my professional career, you know, I've been to a lot of ground zeros where these mass atrocities happen. You know, I've been all over the country. I've been all over the world witnessing the aftermath of hate and division, paying attention to what happens when things get, I mean, when you think of January 6th and you see, you know, what's the ripple effect of people on whatever side they were on of that? What's the ripple effect for that? Because now hundreds of people are going to jail. What does that do to their families? Right? People died on both sides there. You know, people died. There was that woman that was shot in the face. There's those cops that died. I believe some of those cops have gone on to commit suicide since then. Like, there's this. So aside from the politics, the ripple effect of these things, man, always creates victims, and it doesn't matter what you believe. Regardless of your belief, you're not exempt from the harm that these things cause. Right. Regardless. So we're not here talking about the morality, which I would love to be able to, but that's not what we're here for. Aside from morality is the ripple effect of any of this stuff, man. And then what we have to live with when we finally come out of that kind of place. Right. The things that we feel bad about happened over 25 years ago. Over 25 years ago. Over 30 years ago. We're talking about 1987 and 1992 were the last times I committed crimes, right? We're talking about still managing that shit all these years later.
That's a crime in itself, having guns like those.
You mean boobies?
Leave my tatas alone, all right? No judging me.
Well, you know, teach his own. If you want boobies, knock yourself out. Knock yourself out. uh, so here's what we're getting at. These last 2 days, man, in our country have certainly been what I would call trigger points for a lot of people, man.
Absolutely.
And my heart goes out to the people that are feeling like their guts been ripped out from them, that the carpet's been pulled out. I watched some of the people I love just, be affected by these things. And whether it was around the guns or what happened yesterday, there are people, man, who there's never a situation where everyone feels like they walked away with something that they needed. It's regardless, man, I have empathy for anyone out there who's experiencing these things. Now, what can we do as formers, right? Like, that's the question. What should we do? What does this do for a former when he comes to his reflection, right? I don't know about you, Monte, but when I was in that life, from a very early age, as soon as I became sexually active, I was 11 when I became sexually active voluntarily. And I remained hyper sexually active for a very long time after that, for years. And I was sleeping with multiple women. They weren't women at the time because we were all kids. I was sleeping with other girls, and I remember when I went through puberty, I didn't even know what the hell was happening to my body, but I was already having sex. I didn't even know what was happening to my body.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I woke up one day and found some pelitos. Like, I didn't even know what was happening.
Yeah.
Oh my God, man. It's when I just think of those days, like, I'm doing things my body and my brain can't even comprehend yet, but I'm already doing them, and I witnessed a man killed in front of me 2 feet from me before I was in puberty. My brain couldn't even process that, like, I didn't even understand what I was seeing. I knew what was happening, but I didn't understand it. That's weird.
The consequences, the long-term situations, like, none of us can understand them when those things happen and we're that young.
And so growing up, man, I remember there was a young lady who was being very kind to me. And everyone knew I was cheating. And I was cheating because it wasn't an agreement. It wasn't like, remember how we talked about that where everyone knew. Back in those days, I was a cheater. I wasn't a player. I was a cheater. I was out there cheating, lying, conniving, manipulating, abusing.
Things children do.
Huh?
Things children do when they think they're in an adult relationship.
Yeah. And there was this one girl, man. She was so hurt by what I was doing that in front of me, she cut her wrists. In front of me. And, I didn't have any feelings about it back then because I was just numb. I was numb inside. Yeah, I think I got scared and worried, but, like, did it make me change my behavior? No. My son was born while I was in prison. That tells you, what kind of life I was living, even though I knew she was pregnant. And I had 2 girls pregnant at the same time. And then, as you guys know, I was separated from one of my daughters for 22 years as a result of my lifestyle, right? Why am I talking about this, man? I think I'm just very sensitive to how I view women, the rights that women have, the rights that women should have. And I feel really bad for the women that are hurting today because of decisions other people are making. Now, I get it. There's a bigger picture here and whatever, but I just know that a lot of people are hurting, and that whether they're right or wrong is irregardless to me. I just know a lot of people are hurting. And when I reflect on my life, I realize I have been a part of part of a system. Because here's the thing, that the accountability for my individual decision is 100% in my hands. But here's where I think the bigger picture is, Monta. A lot of us guys are socialized to be this way, right? We're pushed, we're conditioned, we're encouraged. Hell, when you're not that way, you're humiliated.
Yeah.
You're put down because you're not like that.
Yep. You're not tough. You're a punk.
Well, you're not manly enough in that department, right?
Right.
if you ain't trying to stick everything that moves and isn't nailed down, like you're not man enough there either, right? And
right.
I mean, when we weren't talking shit in the joint, we were talking shit about women, you know, and you know, I actually grew up with pimps, like real pimps, not this new wave day stuff where a guy thinks he has 2 girlfriends, so he's a pimp. No, I'm talking about real pimps.
Right.
Driving the decked out Cadillacs with the fucking furry coats and top hats and canes and gold rings, and most of them were gorilla pimps, so they were like violent, you know. Real pimps, man. And you know, and I remember the pimps trying to tell me how to pimp, you know, and feeling special because I had that talk.
Yeah. They deemed you cool enough and good enough to be a part of their their little circle.
I was security a lot of the time. I was lookout. I was the lookout. You know, I'm a little 11-year-old, 12-year-old yes kid. I don't know shit. They're just giving me enough money to go to there was a place called Jordy's in one of the neighborhoods I was in, and you could go to Jordy's back in the day and for $1 get a burger and like a half pound of greasy fries with jalapenos in them. Dude, I would work hard for that $1 every day. Go get me a burger with fries and a soda. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so, you know, I'm out there doing stuff. And the first time I tried cocaine or was asked to try cocaine, it's when they were calling it freebasing, was in 1980, the summer of 1980. It was just hitting the scene. And this pimp was with 2 girls. I was the lookout. He calls me in, tells me to hit the pipe. I have no idea what I'm hitting. I didn't like the stuff. You know, I got sick. Thank God I didn't get turned out because they got turned out. They got bad. Oh, my God. That got bad for them, man. They were fiending.
Have you ever – so here's a question for you. Have you ever looked at your kids at their age now, right, and then thought about your life at that age and been like, I'm just so grateful that my kids didn't have to see or do the things that I did, right? Like when I talked to Danica in Atlanta, you know, so 7 years old, that was the first time I was busted with a firearm and 2 grams of cocaine. I had my dad's 9-shot 22 revolver that he had gave me to watch out, and I had 2 grams of cocaine on me that were his, and we got pulled over. And I refused to tell the police because they knew who it was. Like, it wasn't even a normal encounter with the police. Like Rampart, you guys think you know what bad cops are, right? Like Rampart, we weren't human to them, right? Like we weren't human at all. There was nothing they could do to us that they would feel bad about. So it wasn't a normal get beat up and called a wetback or, you know, drugged down the street by Rampart. They were actually really nice. Like they were, come on, son, just tell us that your dad gave you this so we can arrest him. And you know, the cop kept hounding and I kept telling him, you know, fuck you, pig, fuck you, pig, fuck you, pig, you know, because that's what I thought. That's how I felt. I'd grown up. Fuck you, right? I was 7, bro. I was 7. Like my daughter thinks Coke is a soda. Right. Now, don't get it wrong. I keep my kids informed. They know how their big brother died. They understand that, you know, he took a pill that his body didn't agree with and he overdosed or he died from allergic reaction. I don't lie to them. But the absolute lifestyle, they have no idea. Like none. I mean, I was going on drug deals as soon as I could walk with my dad. And so I look at him now and sometimes I feel like I'm not preparing them enough for the world. And sometimes I feel like grateful, but sometimes I'm jealous. Like I look, and Danny come in my room last night. She had her little tablet, and she was like, "Hey, Dada, I need $1.99." And then she broke down to me why it was so important that, you know, it was so cheap and it was little. I'm like, baby, listen, I'm broke right now. She was like, "What do you mean you're broke? You got $50?"
Right. Yeah.
Like, yeah, and I got 5,000 in bills, kid. Like, I'm preparing for a wedding in September. Like, $50 ain't even scratching the surface, homie. And she was like, "It's just $1.99, Dada." And it was so important to her. You know, I got my card out and I bought it. She earned it. She was like, "You still owe me $15 for the chores." And I was like, "You're right. I got you. You got to pay when you know, we made an agreement. You work, I pay." So I bought it for her. But at that age, like, sometimes I get jealous. You know what I mean? Like, at 7, I was standing on a street corner in East LA selling needles for my dad, $1 a piece. He would go into Walmart or to Walgreens and steal the 100-bag packs of them. He used to sell syringes in a 100 pack of syringes, and my dad would need them, you know, because he was using. And so he would take 10 of them, put them away, and then hand me 15 or 20, and I'd sell them for $1 a piece. And, you know, I could go buy my own candy, and I'd give my dad the rest of the money so he could score dope. Man, Danica would fuck me up. I asked her to do some shit like that. Right? First off, she'd be confused as shit. Second off, like, she ain't going. Like, she ain't going. She ain't playing that. But I get jealous, bro. Like, it's like, I tell them all the time, man, like, when they're naughty, you know what would have happened to me if I did that? Like, you did what my punishment would have been compared to you losing your tablet for an hour and thinking it's the end of the world. Like, let me kick you in your face. I remember being kicked in the face. Let me drag you down a flight of stairs and show you what the truth is.
You know,
I'm grateful.
I think the aspect of what we're really trying to get at here, man, is that we realize that the things that are happening in our lives are affecting other people. And we also realize the way they could affect other people and how they might be impacted by the systems that are at play, right? Because there's the parts of this stories of my story, your story, where we're aware of what we were doing, but we may not be aware of what's happening around us. You know what I mean? And so in many regards, we have to learn to look at the bigger picture. Because in your mind, what you're saying to me is, here's what I did. Here's what's happening. You know, and I can see the direct correlation between my behavior and how it would affect others and how it affected me. The way I think today and the way I push others to think at times is, but what was impacting you? What was affecting you, right? Did you realize that you were being socialized to be a particular way? No. Did you realize you were being groomed, that you were being exploited? No. We only realized that stuff later. Then we realized not only did that happen to us, but we ended up doing it to others. We end up using the same tactics that were used on us, on others. And sometimes it was our family that did that. A lot of times it was our friends, people who were older, wiser, more street smart, things like that. But then you have those other societal pressures that come from the systems around you, like school systems, legal systems, court systems, right? Those were the big three in my life back in those days, right? And what I realized is that those systems weren't always doing things that were in my best interest, even though that's what they said they were doing. A lot of, I don't know if this is true for you, but a lot of the places I've been to, both as a juvenile and as an adult, have later been found to be inhumane and were condemned, whether they were from treatment programs, group homes, detention centers, mental institutions, and segregation units.
Yeah.
A lot of the places I have been condemned as inhumane and have been shut down. Right?
Yeah.
Now, why am I talking about that when we opened up the way we did? Because I'm still aware of how systems are impacting people's lives
On a daily basis.
and there's always going to be two camps. Well, it was for the best, and then there's the other one that's for the worst, and somewhere in the middle is the truth. But aside from that, and things are, I think, way worse today than they were then. Aside from that, is that there are real people affected by these things in real time. People have to start rethinking their whole lives about certain things. And it's so politically driven. I'll be honest, let's just put it straightforward. What we call politically driven is really racially driven today. It's
right.
It seems more like a race war than a political war, because it just basically are things that we get behind that our race gets behind, and it's like, okay, I hear you, but behind race are people, behind politics are people. And I just know that today I'm reflecting on the impact I have as an individual, and as a person of influence, an influencer. And I just want to be mindful of my impact, my footprint, but I also want to let the people know that are around us, that listen to us, that perhaps care about us, that if you're going through something, if you're stressed because of what's happening in the country, you're not alone, man. We're here for you. And I'm not here to debate your politics. You could be for the things that happened. Okay, great. You could be against the things that happen. Okay, great. I'm here for you if you are stressed by what's happening. Because it's the divides that are here today are pretty big.
And getting bigger.
And the people in the world feel like they are further apart from each other than ever before. Foreigners ain't going to get in now. We're not going to call people out. It takes a lot of discipline to do that. Just want to pat myself on the back for that. We're going to call you in. We're going to say politics, beliefs, values, whatever. All that aside, we're here for you, man.
I agree.
Women, men, or however you identify, we're here for you. This is a camp where if you need a timeout, what was that game we used to play where there was like a neutral zone, safe zone? Like there's probably games, like maybe like dodgeball or something. Like you could stand somewhere and then nobody could, touch you or tag you out. Base.
I don't even know.
I'm on base.
I'm on base.
Yeah, that was it. I'm on base, right?
Right.
Base is safe, right? This is base. This is base, man.
I agree.
You can check out of your politics.
Tag, it was cool.
Yeah. This is politics. Oh, here come the games.
Right. We ain't heard from nobody all show, and we start talking about kid games, and everybody shows up.
But what it tells you is they're listening.
Yeah.
They're listening. And ladies, I don't know where you're at today, but wherever you're at.
Jessica, hey, Sika's in this conversation. Use the word lady lightly, man. Like, scratch that one, man.
Understood.
Talking about pro gangster. You gotta watch out. Jessica's in the room, man. Yeah.
Hey, Monte, tonight, when you're alone with your giant family there, just reflect on what you got to do, to bring that peace, safety, and goal to your home,
Yeah. I'm so lucky,
I'm a fucking lady, and then Jess is like, fuck you, I'm a lady too.
Maybe I wasn't talking about you, I'm talking about Jessica.
This is why they greet me first when they
I have no doubt that any problems we have, in my life come from my actions. I'm well aware.
I'm well aware.
I'm 46 with 8, a 7, and a 3-year-old. I know I'm not bright, you guys. Like,
dude, I warned you. I warned you, man. I was like, no.
Dude, I'm sitting in the living room last night.
Put your feet away.
I've been sick all day. Lizzie ran somewhere, and Tater walked out of his room and came into the living room and looked at me, and I looked at him, and he said, "Hi, Dada." I was like, "What's up, buddy?" And he just, like Usain Bolt, bam, he was out the door. Nothing but a diaper, running full speed. I can barely walk. My tummy hurts, like I'm dizzy, and I'm chasing him. And he gets on his little tricycle, and he just shoots down the driveway, skids to a stop, looks, and shoots out the driveway to Nana and Papa's house. And I'm chasing him. Like I'm just chasing Tater, Tater. And he's screaming, I heard Owen, which is her parents' dog, right? Nana and Papa are home. Nana and Papa are home. And he's just gone. And I'm running down after him down the street. Like, it's cool. It is what it is. And he's just gone. Like, no care in the world. Doesn't give a shit what I say. No fear of me. Like, I laid him down last night. We were cuddling. And I just kept thinking, man, how freaking awesome is this? Like, how amazing is this? Like, it's been a long road.
It is a long road, man. And, you know, it's funny because after yesterday and the day before, man, I think a lot of people think that the road is endless, and it is, but it doesn't mean it's hopeless.
Right.
This is what I was talking about years ago, man. When I stepped into the ED role at Life After Hate, one of the things I said is that this is not a war that you can win, but it is a war you can lose.
Mm-hmm.
Right? In this particular battle, we have to fight constantly to maintain a balance. Right? This is a teeter-totter, and it's never going to stay balanced. And yet we have to work hard to push and pull to get that balance as close to center as we can.
Yeah.
Like, that's the struggle. And I think once we can accept that, you know, but we can't become indifferent. We can't become complacent and hopeless. Hopeless is the worst because you're just going to throw your hands up and let the house burn down.
It's so easy too. Like,
yeah. It
is so easy to just say, you know what? Not my problem, not my mess. I'm out of this. You know what I mean? Like,
or it's just too much. I can't handle it. I think a lot of people are just. This is like a tidal wave. It went out and now it's coming back, and it's not the end of it. You know, we're still dealing with the ripple effect of the last few years, but it's not over. It's never going to be over, and so we just got to stay resilient and stay involved, man. You know, and as far as your recovery is concerned, you know, these things don't need to jeopardize your recovery.
Mm-hmm.
You know, find a purpose, find a cause, find something to fight for, you know, to live for, to stand for. Like,
yeah.
And you know, things aren't, I think right now, recent polarization studies show that people think things are worse than they actually are. And that's not saying a lot because shit is pretty bad right now. But we catastrophize catastrophes, if that makes any sense.
Perfect.
We have a catastrophe. It's already a catastrophe. And now we're catastrophizing that catastrophe, right? And so it's like, it's bad enough, man. It's
not making it worse.
You know, it's like the scene out of The Perfect Storm. I don't know if you've ever seen it, right?
Yep.
The guy, they're all in the boats and the water's all, you know, the boat has sunk. They're on a sailboat. They're trying to hang on to their dog, and you know, the waves are like huge, like, you know, 20-foot waves, 50-foot waves. And this Coast Guard guy jumps in the water. He swims over there and he's like, "Hi, my name is Matthew and I'm going to be your rescuer today." This dude is like chipper, right? He's like chipper.
Yeah.
He is about it. You know, he's like, "Yeah, you know, would you like a Coke? You know, can I get you anything?" You know,
yep.
He is killing it. Now, rewind that and imagine if he had swam over there and had said, "We're all going to die."
Right.
That's the difference in the mindset that we have to have right there. Right? It's already a bad situation, and this guy is he jumped in it to help some
Yep.
people who were dying, right? And he's like, I got you. We're gonna be fine. Let's do this. I'm not saying he wasn't ignorant to what he was involved in. He knew this is life and death. But what he said was, I can have a good attitude about what I'm facing right now.
Yeah.
A good attitude while I'm facing what I'm facing right now, right? That's got to be the recovery perspective, if you ask me. I can be, as best as I can be in a bad situation while I'm going through that bad situation. And it doesn't mean like we're just trying to downplay or pretend like things aren't bad. But it makes no sense to me to say we're all going to die as a part of our recovery process. It just, no. I mean, if we're going to die, then let's die enjoying something.
Here's a spoiler. We're all going to anyways.
Spoiler alert, right?
So I'm not going to get into the religious aspects of it, but somebody was talking to me about what makes a good man and how can you be a good man without a deity, right? Without
easy.
And that's what I try to explain to him. How, and here's my feeling on it. A man or woman who lives a life of peace and kindness and love without threat of consequence or reward in after death is actually a better man that lives a good life who has a fear of consequences after death, right? Like the freedom that you have when having no consequence, right, is an amazing thing. And it's also a terrifying thing, right? Because that also allows people to be monsters, right? Well, it doesn't matter as long as I get what I want now and in this life. There is no other life. Let me do whatever the hell I want without consequence. But if that same person makes a choice, right, knowing that he isn't going to be rewarded, he has nothing coming at passing, that's a beautiful thing, right? Like that's how I feel about recovery, right? Like the reward is the action in itself. The reward is the life in itself. The reward is what we're accomplishing now together without promise of some reward afterwards. My reward is now. My reward is today. My reward is the smile that people have when I help them. My reward is the goodness that I feel inside for doing it. How do you manage to be positive about the struggles? Oh my God, Sarah, great question, right? How do you manage to be positive about the struggles? First off, one of the things I don't do is think about how much worse it could be. Right? Like I don't get into that. Well, it could be worse, right? Because that leads down the other road. What I try to do, Sarah, for me is be positive about the changes I make and be grateful for the ability to make them. There was a time when I didn't have any bills and it was a lot easier. Of course, at that time, I lived in a cage surrounded by men who really didn't care about me and wanted to hurt me, right? So having the bills and the struggles is okay. It's a part of life. And I can leave those struggles, right? Like I have the option to leave those struggles. I go live in the woods. Fuck my kids, fuck my family, fuck my community, fuck the world. I can go find a place in a public woods and spend the rest of my life alone, right? Or I can do what I got to do, reach out to the people I need to reach out to when I can't do it by myself, and make the best of what I got and enjoy that. So that's what I do, Sarah. What about you, Sammy? What do you do?
Well, Amy said, make a difference where you can, work within the system that has been provided to the best of your ability, and try to implement change. And I'll add to that, buck the system if you need to, because sometimes you need to buck the system. Like, for example, when I walked into child support. Now, for those of you who don't know me, I've always had full placement or 50-50 placement of my kids, either or. I've never been a deadbeat dad with my daughters today. Now I have 50-50 placement and joint custody at this time. So that means I have them just as much as the other parent, and I have 100% of my rights as a parent, just like the mom did. I walk into the child support building for the first time because I'm trying to confront this issue around having a lien on my titles when they backdated child support at the very first court hearing, even though I had the children 100% of the time. I had during the separation leading to our divorce, I had full placement on my daughters in the beginning, the first 90 days. My kids lived with me during that separation. But because I made more money than my wife did at the time in the past, they assigned me child support and then backdated it as if I owed her that money, even though I took care of the kids 100% of the time. That might as well have been alimony because I was 100% responsible for their care, all their care. Now, why did I say that? I go into the child support building, and here's how they titled me. I heard them use a term called NCP,
non-custodial parent.
Non-custodial parent. And I said, what is NCP? Because they said the NCP is here. They didn't even refer to me by my name. The NCP is here looking to speak with his case manager. So I said, excuse me, what is NCP? And she said, non-custodial parent. And I'm like, excuse me? Non-custodial parent? Who assigned me that? And oh no, that's just assigned to the parent who has child support. I'm like, I wouldn't care if God assigned that to that. Like, I am not a non-custodial parent, and I resent being called that instead of even by my own name. Like, so sometimes you gotta buck the system. You don't gotta just deal with it. You can fight. You can fight. Yeah. There's a time to fight sometimes, right? But the way to manage being positive is, one, first of all, it takes practice. It takes practice because we're conditioned to just be depressed all the time and to be pessimistic in nature. There's all kind of research about this that we're designed to be sad and hopeless. Like, it takes practice. That's why we meditate. That's why we pay therapy. That's why we go to self-help, because we've been so conditioned to just see the downside, right? Your kid can bring home 10 A's and have 1 F, and you will berate that child for having the F and completely gloss, or you'll give him 5% attention on his A's and then 95% attention on the F. It's just the way we're designed, right? You get a raise. You get a 3% raise at work, and you're mad that it wasn't 4, right? Like, we have to practice to see. Now, at this point in my life, I've been through so much, but here's what I've learned about what I've been through. It's all been for the best. It's all been for the good, not because that's how it was designed, right? It was because of what I did with the mess. My mess became my message.
Yeah.
Right? My mess with age became my message. Right? That's in our literature. And it's only in hindsight, it's only in hindsight that we realize that we made something good out of all of that stuff. Right? Recovery is about making good out of the mess. The wreckage in your life, Sarah, right? Sarah, if you're there, just give me a sign. Like, I want to make sure I'm talking to you.
She's
right?
still there.
All right. You can just like put a little emoji in the box or something. But your mess, right? All that wreckage, your boat got smashed against a rock. And you're in the middle of this ocean, right? And your boat was your vessel. That, however big or small it was, that was your vessel. That's what you were navigating in. And a big giant wave came and threw it against a rock, and it smashed your boat into pieces. Right? Now, Sarah, you're stuck on this island. Now, if you can never see anything other than the wreckage, you'll be stuck on that island for life. But if you recognize that no help is coming and it's all in your hands, you can either choose to stay on that island or you're going to have to build a new boat. And guess what? Between the wreckage, the rock, and you, and the water, the only thing you have to reconstruct anything from is your wreckage. See, that comes with wisdom, right? That comes because you've rethought your process. You've changed the way you fundamentally approach the wreckage in your life. So whether we're talking about yesterday's wreckage, 50 years ago wreckage, that's all you got. You don't have anything else to build. And so here's what you do. You recognize that the wreckage around you is now material. Think of that, right? What was now garbage and junk and waste, you see, wait a minute, I can use that piece of wood and put it with this piece of wood. Hell, I might have enough pieces here to make me a raft. So then let's say you build your raft. And let's say you spend the next 2 years on the ocean in that raft. And then one day you're rescued, right? That guy who jumped in the water swam over to you and say, hey, I'm Matthew. I'm going to be your rescue. He rescues you, right? Tell me, Sarah, tell me right now how grateful you would be when he found you, right? How grateful would you be when you were finally seen and rescued and put on the helicopter and flown back to society, back to the world, right? Now, some of us actually wish we could go back to the island after we've been rescued because we realize it's still a shit world, right? But now check this out. As you start reflecting on your rescue, you realize something. I'm so grateful I built that boat. I'm so grateful I built that raft, right? Now, how did that happen? Right? Because the only way you realize that you can be grateful for building the raft is to have seen value in the wreckage, to have seen value in the crash in the first place. Because you now realize that you have a new sense of awareness, a new sense of appreciation, a new sense of value on the things in your life, on the things that happen to you. I did a whole TED Talk on changing the way we tell our story. So, Sarah, to your question, how do you manage to be positive about the struggles? You're assuming that the struggles are something to be other than positive, that the struggle equals negative. But what if the struggle equals positive? So if you've ever worked out, if you've ever lost weight, if you ever, had a job and you had to struggle to become a manager or a leader, how about high school? How about middle school? When you struggled all those years, the struggle, there is a benefit at the end of the struggle for those of us who stay the course. You got to stay the course. Yeah. Right? And even if your boat gets smashed, you got to stay the course. And so a lot of times, how many times at the tables have we heard people say, this is hard? Yeah. And then I jump in and I always end their sentence for them by saying, but it's necessary.
Right.
It's hard, but it's necessary. If you stop with it's hard, you'll never see the positive aspect of it. So, Sarah, it takes practice and it takes experience because you got to rely on that experience to teach you that everything that you've been through. Look, I bet you if you've been through some shit, I don't know anything about Sarah. But Sarah, if you've been through some shit in your life and it makes you a better person, let me know, right? So I wasn't there for the first set of kids I had. So that's a shitty situation. But because I went through that, I have changed and I've become a better dad. You know what made me even a better dad? My freaking divorce. And that was rough, God. But today I love even more. I love even better, right? Now I'm so aware, and this is not bullshit. And I get sad like anyone else. I get hurt like anyone else. I go through my lows like anyone else. It just doesn't take me forever to recover anymore. I know that recovery is coming soon whenever I'm injured. But I've been through so much that a lot of the typical struggles that I have today, I already know something great is coming at the end of it. I already know there's a transition in there for me. There's an evolution. There's an evolutionary component to whatever struggle I'm facing, whether it's money, whether it's my children's mom struggles I have, whether it's, I'm currently unemployed. I'm not depressed because I'm unemployed right now, and I've been unemployed for what, 7 months? I'm not depressed. I know that my next big move is right behind there somewhere. And I have faith. I'm hanging in there. And I don't have faith like I'm praying. No, I just know enough about life to know that nothing hard ever stays hard.
Yeah.
Especially when we confront it. You do become stronger. So that's my 2 cents on how we manage to be positive. It takes practice and experience to get there. And you look back on your own life and see how much you've evolved into a better person, a stronger person, how much you love more, you have more insight about love. Every one of your insights comes from a struggle. I guarantee it. You've learned more from struggling than you have from succeeding.
One of my favorite quotes is early on in our friendship during group one day. You had talked about iron needing the fire, needing the forge, needing the hammer. And I've used that since then continuously. Like when we talk, I always tell people, listen, without the forge and the fire, there is no steel, right? There's just soft iron, right? We need that forge. We need that fire to strengthen our resolve to remove the chafe from our life, right? We have to be able to cut it away and walk away cleanly, right? We can't do that with a dull iron butter knife. So
after the fire, Monte, how do you sharpen the knife?
With a grindstone.
You gotta grind it, right? You grind the shit out of it, right?
Let's get it in.
There's nothing easy about this shit, man. Sarah, all you can do is put your nose to the grinder. That's what they mean, right? Like, just be willing to go through. I got a book back here called The Road. Look at. I'm gonna go to it. Right up here. Go to it right up here. Got it right up here. This book right here, it's an old book. Pages are yellow. I've had this book for 30 years. I read this book while I was in prison. I was in program. And the opening of this book blew my mind away. Let me see here. You ready for this? All right, look, Sarah, look. Sarah, you looking? Here it goes. Here we go. Read that first line, Monte.
Problems and pain. Life is difficult.
No, the first line.
Life is difficult.
Boom, dude. That was the very first sentence in this book. And you know what? It was like a fucking mind opener.
Right.
And then he goes on to say, the reason we struggle so much, right? The reason we struggle so much is because we refuse to accept this simple truth. That blew me away, man. It changed my world. Here, let me read this. This is just the first paragraph, man. Life, problems, and pain. Life is difficult. The author is M. Scott Peck. I've been quoting this dude for 30 plus years, man. It says, life is difficult. This is a great truth, one of the greatest truths. It's one of Buddha's teachings.
Yeah.
Right? One of the Four Noble Truths. It is a great truth because once we truly see this truth, we transcend it. once we truly know that life is difficult, once we truly understand and accept it, then life is no longer difficult. Because once it's accepted, the fact that life is difficult no longer matters. Instead, they moan. Most people don't see the truth. Instead, they moan more or less incessantly, noisily, subtly about the enormity of their problems, their burdens, their difficulties, as if life were generally easy, as if life should be easy. They voice their belief that their difficulties represent a unique kind of affliction. I mean, life is a series of problems. But he goes on to say that the reason we suffer is because we just don't accept that life is difficult.
Right.
The reason we become frustrated is because we cannot accept the limits of our control. Right? It's about what we just don't accept that life is hard. So whatever you were thinking about your struggle, Sarah, it's not the struggle in and of itself that makes it difficult. It's the way we view the struggle that makes the struggle unbearable. But if the struggle is something we just got to go through, I mean, since we've been talking about women so much, let me just put this out there. How hard is it to have a baby? And then women have more than one baby. Dude, I don't even know if I could have had one baby, much less several. Witnessing what they went through, I was like, dude, I didn't even want to have sex anymore.
Dude, I passed a gallstone or kidney stone one time and cried the entirety of the time that it was like every time I had to pee, every time, you know, it was horrifying. It was like the worst experience of my life. And the doctor was like, now make that about 10 times bigger. Push that shit through.
I salute you, women who have babies. I salute you with the look. No way would I put myself through that. As a father watching it wrecked me for a long time. I was traumatized watching what happens.
Yeah,
women and the screams and the blood.
Holy crap! Jane had 5.
And then I had to wonder. Like, am I even doing anything?
Right.
When I saw this big ass kid come out.
Right.
I'm like, what am I doing for her? Like,
right.
She faking it all the time.
All the time.
I was just like, what the? I was so. But anyway, look, life is difficult, but you can see the beauty in birth. You can see the beauty in the pregnancy, which makes you nauseous and sick, and we can see the beauty in that, and the expectations and the way that we look forward. What's up, Mija? Good morning.
Wait, who's that? Hey, baby girl.
Listen, time out. Let me guys tell you something. I measured Samaya on May 25th. Yesterday, we were both barefooted standing in the kitchen, and guess what?
She's taller than you.
She's taller than me. So I was saying, get your ass over there. I was mad. Get your ass over there to the post where we measure her.
Yeah.
So she goes over there, and I measured her. She grew an inch in 1 month. I don't know how I didn't see it until last night. We were just standing there, and I looked at it, and I realized I had to go like this. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit. I was like, get over. I was mad. I didn't even know I was mad. Get over there. He went over there and like lined up, and I measured her, and dude, a whole inch.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's so I don't ever think of Tater as being big for a 3-year-old. You know what I mean? He's just my little buddy. But like Lizzie yesterday, he's over half her height already.
Everyone's over half her height already.
Right. Like, he is a big kid at 3. And then he was having a full-blown conversation with his Nana and Papa talking about stuff. But yeah, dude, it's nuts how quick they grow. So John said, absolutely buck the system. The system needs to be an evolving system, not a static one. And the only way that can happen is from within. You have to know it and know how to use it and where to push it to force change. If the system from the 50s was still in place, I wouldn't be allowed to have the friends I have. And as an Italian-raised Catholic, I would have never been able to marry the German Lutheran I've been with for 25 years. No doubt, bro. And listen, smart move about putting in the German Lutheran. I know her, kind of afraid of her. Beautiful woman. Don't know what she sees in you, but I'm
What's
happy she
all
does.
these
I love
women
both.
in our lives that are like John Gotti's and shit? Like,
Right.
what's going on? Like we've manifested that somehow. It's like,
He
you
did.
gotta be a gangster to have our respect, and damn it, you do.
Yeah, like John's right there at the top, bro. Like, man, to earn the respect of that woman, like, and don't play no games, right? She doesn't accept less than absolute. I just fixed their car before they went on vacation, and I don't play games. I don't bullshit with her. Look at Selena's. Good morning. She taller than you. Ha 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 ha. She run the house now. She's the man of the house.
Hey, but one man in this house.
Samo, not the little one. Oh, that's my baby girl going in on you, bro. Oh shit. So, anyways,
she's been taller than Selena's.
Right. I fixed the car and I sent it back. And 2 days later, they went on vacation. Their daughter was using it. 2 days later, I get a call. I talk to her, and there's some horrible grinding noise being made on the passenger side. And it turned out I over torqued the bolts. Hold on. I don't know who's trying to call me, but it's my stupid cousin again. I love him.
They can rate 11 minutes.
Right. So I don't know what's wrong. I told him beforehand that the brakes, were old. It's a 30-year-old car, blah, blah, blah. And I realized after I take it apart, there's a bolt that broke off the top of the caliper, which allowed the caliper to slap like this while she was driving. It's not dangerous. It can't come off. The bottom pin bolt's still in, but it makes noise and it's terrifying, right? So I get it home. I drill it out, rethread it. I go out and I buy longer bolts. I make brand new ones out of hardened bolts. You got to file it and grind it so it's the right length. I put it all back together, and I'm like, well, I could just tell him it broke because it was old and rusty. And then I thought, if Ann ever found that out, I would be a dead man. So I texted him. I'm like, well, it turns out my torque wrench is off, and my torque wrench being as old as it is, it's actually, if I put it at 70 pounds, it's really about 120 pounds, right?
Wow.
So I torqued it down to the 110 pounds it was supposed to be, but that was really like 160 pounds. So between the tension that I had put on that bolt, plus it being old and rusty, snapped it off. It was just a better idea to tell Ann the truth than ever have her find out I bullshitted her and got stabbed in the face immediately. Right?
That's the way to go, man.
Yeah, it's just better all together, bro. But Taylor, you gonna say hi? You say hi, Uncle Sammy? Is that your Uncle Sammy?
Hey.
Say good morning.
What's up, Mio? Good morning.
He was not a happy camper this morning.
Oh.
He woke up and he said, "Why are you not in bed, Dada?" That's when I went to the thing. He's been hanging out with us at night, so little beast.
Well, we got to start wrapping this up. It's been one, man. I guess the big arching theme is like, for our female formers, we're here for you. We got a space for you. Anyone else, we got a space for you. We recognize you might be going through something right now, and if you are, you're not alone. We care. There's 2 guys right here, 3 with Cater.
Yeah,
we care.
For those of you who live outside of Wisconsin, me personally, this has nothing to do with FA.
Wipe that on your dad. Wipe that on your dad. Put in his hair.
If you're in another state that doesn't allow camping and you need to go to a state that's friendly to camping, I will come get you and take you camping. Dig that.
Hey, we can set up a little camping
underground.
Hey, we'll turn your moving trucks into a camping site. Sure.
Whatever it takes.
We'll come. Not only will we help you go camping, we'll come move you.
Right.
We'll come move you.
Welcome to Wisconsin, a state that's free thinking and progressive. I can't fucking believe I had to say that. I can't believe I can say that. Can someone find some space for my kid Lisa? I think they're going to burn this system to the ground. Listen, I already told you, Amy, just the other day when I seen you and Lisa, I love I love that girl. Like, your kids are amazing.
She said, "Come pick us up in Canada." I'm unfortunately banned from Canada.
I can't go either. So, Jane, if you can make it to the border, I got you a ride home.
You got to make it across the border. They were going
Listen,
to detain me.
the Canadian border is the most loosely held border.
False myth. That's not true. Not true at all. Them fuckers are on it.
Me too. No to Canada.
Well, Amy already knows us. We're easy, man.
John's not banned from Canada. Jane, we got you, sweetheart.
Yeah, I think we should set up our camping site campaign.
Bang bang.
I love it. I love it. If you want to go camping and they don't allow camping in your state,
we allow camping here. We will come get you.
I'll be honest, Missouri banned camping yesterday as soon as they could.
Mississippi, Missouri.
Well, you know, camping should be free for everyone. So I don't think they make you pay here, but
no, they don't.
Yeah, I think all of our state parks are free.
Yeah.
But that's not what we're talking about. So just went on a little tangent there. Help, look, we're unsupervised.
Yeah, right. There's no adult in the room for us today, you guys.
Amy said Wisconsin doesn't allow camping, so we got to find some place that does.
I don't know. Wisconsin allows camping.
Well, we'll have to research.
Yeah, Governor Evers made sure of it.
Jess said she'll drive. Great. We got us a little union going. This might be the next big thing.
Let's see. Absolutely, camping is allowed.
Well, first of all, I don't even think it's against the law to do what we're talking about doing, because you can give anybody a ride for any reason. There's no statute on that. So.
Oh no, Texas. In Texas, if you go to Texas and help someone leave Texas for the goal of camping, they can prosecute you and sue you.
Well, damn.
Fuck Texas. All my family in Texas, I love you. Fuck your state. Let them bitches seed. They say they want to seed. I don't think they understand what that means. Like,
these views are not necessarily shared by Formers Anonymous.
They are not shared by Formers at all. These are my personal and private views and feelings. Fuck you, Texas.
Anyway, Monte, you need to work on that. That's an issue. Go to step one with that one. Thank you. All right, y'all. We're about to get out of here.
Love you guys. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you guys next Saturday morning, same time, same place, 9:30 a.m. live on any one of the channels. Madison said, fuck you. We are still camping and campaigning. All right, you guys. We love you guys. Thank you for being a part of this. We'll see you guys next week. Again, let's walk this road to recovery together.
Do it.
Peace.
Peace out, y'all.